Welcome back to Sports by GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jeremy Lapidus. Today is Friday, September 6th. I appreciate everybody sticking around, talking some sports with me today. We just finished talking about, if you are just tuning in, a bunch of the top 10 college football games for me this week. We went over games like Texas taking on Michigan, Tennessee taking on NC State, Colorado taking on Nebraska, and a bunch of other top matchups. In this segment, we are going to finish off our show with our Friday special, the official Sports by GSMC Podcast Network MLB Power Rankings. But before we get into that, remember, if you would like to be an even bigger part of the show than you already are, all you need to do is go to gsmcpodcast.net. Leave a tip or donation with a message in it. That message should pop up on the bottom of the screen for you, me, and everybody else around the world to see. You can also do the same thing if you are on YouTube using that super chat feature. If you have a burning question about sports, anything at all you would like to ask, feel free to throw that in the comments. Throw it in the chat. I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. I appreciate everybody so much for sticking around, talking some sports with me here on a beautiful Friday afternoon. But like I was saying, we're going to finish off, our show today talking all about the MLB. It's been about a week since we got into the MLB Power Rankings. Hot off the presses today, the official Sports by GSMC Podcast Network MLB Power Rankings. Starting off at number 30, who else but the Chicago White Sox? The White Sox once again find themselves at the bottom of the power rankings. They are all but guaranteed to be the worst team in the modern MLB, currently sitting at just below 110 losses. Not where you want to be if you're a White Sox fan, right? This is an MLB team that is trying not to catch up to the 62 Mets, although it might be just a formality at this point, as they currently have 109 losses, 48 games back. It's kind of ridiculous how bad this team has been. At 29, the Miami Marlins. The Miami Marlins are the next team to be eliminated. They currently are one of just 3 teams, as well as the Colorado Rockies, who have been eliminated from the playoffs with their buddies, the White Sox. It's a shame. These teams are bad. The Marlins really fell. They made the playoffs last year. Unfortunately, just not a good team. Injuries kind of hit them hard. They traded away some of their best pieces. Miami is at 29, and the Rockies are at 28. At 27, we have the Los Angeles Angels, and they are the next team on that chopping block. Very, very close to elimination. They're the next team probably to be eliminated. And we have a change at 25. It's been a bit since a new team, or at 26. It's been a bit since a new team was in the bottom 5. Welcome into the bottom 5, my Washington Nationals. The Nationals have been bad. They fall 3 spots from number 23. I was overrating them a little bit. I'll be completely honest with you. They called up Dylan Cruz. I was very excited. The Nationals fall 3 spots to number 26. At 25, the Oakland Athletics climb a spot. I've been kind of disrespecting them just a little bit. They have the second best record in the AL since the All-Star break. They still technically have a path to win the AL West. It's going to be tight, but they're not out of it yet. The Athletics are at 25. At 24, the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Pirates, outside of Paul Skeens and a couple of their other pitchers, have been bad. They've moved to a 6-man rotation to reduce innings on some of their arms. Their season is done. They're all but out of it as well. Same thing with the Cincinnati Reds, although the Reds are still kicking a little bit. They still are trying their best, trying to say they got a little bit of hope left, but they are basically done. The Reds 8.5 games out of that wild card spot. Really, if you're not in the top 4 in the NL right now, you don't really have much of a shot unless the Cubs or the Cardinals really go on a hot streak towards the end of the season. The Blue Jays stand pat at 22. The Blue Jays, I mean, they've been solid over the last week. They did their job against the Red Sox, but they're ultimately not going to be able to do much. They are sitting pat at 22. At 21, the Giants drop 4 spots. They have had a disaster week, and the Giants love doing this. They love having a great week and then a disaster week and then a great week and then a disaster week, which really makes them go up and down 4 spots a whole bunch. The Giants are 3-7 in their last 10 after being 8-2 in their last 10 previously. Giants fall 4 spots to 21. At spot 20, we have the Tampa Bay Rays. The Tampa Bay Rays are punting on this season. Junior Caminero comes up. He looks up to Manny Machado. They got to play each other. Makes me feel old. Just a little bit. Some of these guys playing in the MLB are younger than me now, which a little bit of a scary thought. But the Rays fall 1 spot to 20. The Cardinals also fall a spot to number 19. They just haven't been doing that good. Their moves at the trade deadline just have not paid off. The Rangers climbed 2 spots after beating the Yankees in a series. Wyatt Langford looked really good. Too bad the reigning champs have not been that good all season, and he's been a little inconsistent. A walk-off grand slam and a home run robbery to end the game is about as good of a series as you can possibly have if you are Wyatt Langford. The Tigers climb 4 spots to number 17, and don't look now. The Tigers are not out of it. They're currently 5 games out of a wild card spot, tied for the first team out of that wild card spot with the team ahead of them, the Seattle Mariners. The Tigers have been hot recently. This last week, they cooled down just a little bit, but this is a Tigers team that I've been sleeping on. They are creeping their way in, and some of those teams that hold that wild card spot right now, we'll get to them in a second, are starting to slip. The Red Sox at 15 are back to 500 where they always deserve to be. 70-70, perfectly balanced at that number 15 spot. This is exactly what we needed. The season can end right now. The Red Sox will finish 81-81. At 14, the Chicago Cubs climb 1 spot, switching with the Chicago Red Sox. The Cubs have been hot, 7-3 in their last 10. They pitched a combined no-hitter. Shota Imanaga and 2 relief pitchers came in and no-hit the Pirates just the other night. They're hot too. They're not completely out of the race. 4.5 games back of the Braves and the Mets. And speaking of the AL wildcard race, we have those next 2 teams. The Kansas City Royals and the Minnesota Twins are the 2 teams right ahead of the Tigers and the Mariners. The Royals have been bad. They dropped 7 in a row earlier this week. They were able to pick one up to stop their skid, but after going on a hot streak, catching the Guardians for a second, they have started falling. So has everyone else in the AL for some reason, but it's getting a little bit chippy there. You got to be careful if you're the Kansas City Royals. You don't want to choke this playoff spot away. And same thing with the Twins. They're only half a game up on the Royals, 5.5 up on the Detroit Tigers. They fall a spot, a little bit concerned for them. The Astros also fall a spot. They're down out of the top 10 to the 11 spot on this list. It's not really anything that they've done. It's more the fact that the NL East, the top of the NL East, has been incredibly hot this week, including the Braves going 6-4, almost falling out of that wild card spot, currently tied for that 3rd wild card spot with the New York Mets. The New York Mets tied with the Braves. Can they hold this spot? They're 8-2 in their last 10. I believe they're on an 8-game winning streak. The Mets have not been able to lose since Grimace showed up. It's kind of insane. The Mets are up 4 spots to number 9. The Diamondbacks, down 3 spot from the top 5 to number 8. They've cooled down a little bit. They get their first baseman back. I'd like to see a little bit of Josh Bell, even though, first baseman is healthy again. He kind of helped turn their whole season around. The Padres stand pat at 7. Fernando Tatis is back. And oh my God, I forgot Fernando Tatis was even gone with how good they were playing. They get Joe Musgrave back. He's been pitching phenomenally. They get Yu Darvish back. This team is only getting stronger heading into the postseason. They're going to make some noise this season. At 6, the Guardians. They had a little bit of a scare. Thought they might lose the division there for a second to the Royals. But they're back on top, back up on that division by 4 games over the Twins, 4.5 over the Kansas City Royals. The Guardians stay in the top 10 at number 6. At number 5, the Brewers find their way into the top 5. Sneaky 80-game winner right now. They are fighting for that number 1 seed in the NL, just 3 games back of the Phillies and the Dodgers. There's a real shot that they could get that in a very, very tight NL race this year. The Yankees fall a spot to number 4, are down in the division as well. At least they were this morning. They currently tied. I guess they won today. The Yankees and the Orioles are battling to not lose, to not lose that division. They're not battling to win right now. They're battling to not lose, and neither one is really running away with it. And that gives us the Orioles at number 3. They're above the Yankees just because they were ahead of the standings this morning. And then at number 2, we have the Dodgers, and number 1, we have the Phillies. Both of these teams have the best record in baseball, 84 and 56. The Phillies have just simply been hotter over the last 10, but only barely. The Phillies are 8-2. The Dodgers are 7-3. The Dodgers lose Clayton Kershaw. These two teams are really, really good. Best teams in baseball. The Phillies get that number 1 spot over the Dodgers just because that extra win in the last 10. But let me know what you think of these power rankings. I'd love to hear your thoughts on anything we talked about today. I know it was a little bit of a longer episode, but let me know what you thought. Let me know what your thoughts are on anything we talked about today. We'll be back on Monday. I hope everybody has a great weekend. I hope everybody watches lots of football, enjoys the sports. We'll be back breaking down college football, the NFL, do NFL power rankings, Monday Night Football preview, college football power rankings, top 25. Lots of stuff to cover on Monday. So make sure you swing back after you all have a great weekend. Then I will see you on Monday, same time, same place. You all have a good one. Good night.